Hello, welcome to another Redwood Media Group Business Update podcast. I'm Linda Mariano, Managing Director of Marketing for Redwood Media Group, and I'm going to be your host today. With us are Eric Smith, owner and CEO of Redwood Media Group, Jeff Fox, Chief Operating Officer, and Hannah Smith, Redwood Social Media Manager. We gave you an update a little over a week ago and promised to be back when we had more news to report. First, we hope everyone out there is remembering best practices and staying healthy and safe as the country begins to open up. And I'm guessing it was encouraging to you, as it was to us, to hear Dr. Fauci report last week that the coronavirus vaccine effort is progressing well and that studies will begin next month. That's really good news for sure. A vaccine can't come soon enough for all of us. So Eric, I think you have some news to report for our next three scheduled fairs: Art San Diego in September, Art Expo New York in October, and Spectrum and Red Dot Miami in December.
Yeah, that's correct. So let's take them in order of appearance. Art San Diego would be first, and the San Diego Convention Center called Jeff, and they have canceled all shows in September, which includes Art San Diego. So that's not good news, but the news is what it is today, So the good news is on that, our cash outlay for San Diego was minimal. It was basically just the venue. So those galleries and artists that have registered to participate in San Diego have three options. One, they can receive a refund. Two, they can move their deposit to another event. Or three, if they want to leave their deposit and move it into San Diego 2021, we'll adjust their booth space by 50%, meaning if they had a 10 by 20, they'll now get a 10 by 30 for leaving their money in with Redwood Art Group and moving on. So we'll be contacting each of those exhibitors by the end of June.
Okay, so how about Art Expo New York, which we rescheduled for October? What's happening there?
Well, as I said in our last update, we don't have a lot of confidence in the city of New York hitting phase 4, and which allows large public gatherings anytime soon. Currently, they're in phase 1. So our priority, number one priority, is the safety, the exhibitors and the attendees. And we're also concerned about what I'm going to call economic safety, meaning, if we did have a show in October, would everybody show up? The collectors, the trade, the designers, the dealers, the gallery owners. I don't think I would. I mean, I don't have that confidence in New York coming back by October. So for that reason, we're going to adjust Art Expo New York and just put it back in April of 2021. And I've had a lot of exhibitors contacting me just saying that, they're not confident either, and we should make a decision. So we're making that decision now.
Well, What about the exhibitors that have made payments?
Well, as I stated in our last podcast, we were 30, 40 days out from Art Expo when all this took place, and a lot of the money had already gone out of the door. As our old president from our old company, Jeff, used to say, the toothpaste is out of the tube and you can't put it back. So we had already paid for labor, for walls, for marketing. We bought the carpeting, and we've not received those payments back. And we haven't had any success, even when asking for that money back. So that money will not be recovered, some of it. The PR, the signage, all that kind of stuff. The good news is every exhibitor at Art Expo New York has a full credit toward another event. And whether they want to roll that over to Art Expo 2021 or they want to join us in Miami, and we'll talk about Miami in a minute. So we'll be reaching out to every one of you by the end of June, via our representatives, Mark, Sarah, Rita, Steve, and Rosanna, and determine what you'd like to do with your credit. If you want to put it into Art Expo next year, you can do that. You don't really need to do anything but notify your rep. If you want to move it to Miami, notify your rep, and we'll take care of that for you. Yeah.
Okay, so then that brings us to Spectrum and Red
Yeah.
Dot in Miami in December. What's the scoop?
We're 6 months away. That's a pretty long runway, as I said last time. And, considering of what's going on in Florida, we're very confident we'll be able to have a show with proper measures. And Jeff will talk about that in a moment. So I think it's pretty good news in Florida. They're opening up Disneyland, Disney World, Epcot with safety measures. And so Miami will be our next event in December. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great news. It would be really great to see art fairs opening their doors again.
Absolutely.
Jeff, how do you see the new normal for art fairs? What can we expect?
Sure. Well, our main goal as a show organizer is to create a safe and relaxed atmosphere. So how do we do that? Well, we do that by regularly communicating the safety measures we're putting into place. So we're working closely with our industry partners, a couple IAEE, CISO, ESCA, to ensure all of the essential considerations for safely reopening events are being utilized. In short, we're focusing on four main categories. Number one would be physical distancing. Number two would be cleaning. Three would be protection. And number four would be communication. So let me just dive into each one of those. I'll just give you a high-level view of each. So physical distancing, what do we mean there? Well, that's managing our crowd density based on time ticketing. We're also going to have governmental mandated occupancy numbers, potentially no contact ticket scanning. We're redesigning all of our floor plans to be more open, possibly with one-way aisles. We're potentially having specific scheduled setup and breakout times for move in and move out. The next leg of that would be cleaning. Again, as you might imagine, enhanced stand and venue cleaning, touchless hand sanitizers, and plus venue environmental controls. And that's more like air purification systems within the building itself. On the protection front, we've got PPE, face masks, glass guards, etc. Pre-entry screening area where we can take temperatures and questionnaires, etc. And obviously we'll have enhanced first aid and medical support, specifically on site. And then the last is just as important, which is communication. So that's critical in building the confidence for all of our participants. So where you'll see that is through our show website, through our pre-show messaging, our exhibitor manual, and then obviously on-site signage as well. Those, I think, are the four main pillars of what we'll see in the differences and what we're doing to go ahead and provide a safe environment.
Yeah, they've already done a lot of these things in Beijing, and they did the auto show. And they felt that after putting all these things in place, people got inside, they were relaxed and confident and comfortable. And, so we're learning from other event businesses as we go.
It sounds good. Hannah, I know you gave us an update in our last podcast and reached out to everyone for their social media content. Are there any updates or comments on your end? What are you planning for Miami Art Week?
Yeah, so we just want to continue highlighting everyone and showing everyone what our artists have been working on, especially in the last few months. I know people have been getting really creative being at home, and with 20,000 followers on Spectrum and 10,000 on Red Dot, we just want to show everyone how talented they are year round, not just in that week of the show. So we'd love to know what our artists are working on, what they've been up to, take us behind the scenes on how you've been working. So if you have a 1-minute video of yourself or your artist working in the studio, you can send them over. Maybe a piece that's going to be featured in the fair. So anything like that with a paragraph, some details and images, you can send them on over to us and we'll get you into the schedule. And then we'd love to make every exhibitor a part of our marketing plan by giving everyone a chance to be in the spotlight, both on social media and art business news. So our Meet the Artist series has been really fun to work on. I've learned so much just about these artists that I've met before in just a few short questions. So we'd love to just highlight them and if you're interested in that, you can send me an email.
That sounds great. So, yeah, and artists do it in the past, during past crises, there's been some amazing artwork created. So I think that's a great idea, to really see what we can pull in of what they've created during this pandemic. So it'll be great to see what we receive. So Eric, any last thoughts as we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Redwood Art Group just for a minute. I mean, internally in our company itself. So we're in a really good position. We've weathered this crisis very well. We received our PPP funding from the government, from Congress, and that helped. And we put ourselves in a solid position to produce Spectrum and Red Dot Miami and, Art Expo next year. And we're looking forward to the future and continuing to produce shows for the next 10 years. So, and one last positive thought, I think the pent-up demand that we're going to have in Miami from collectors is going to be really good for the exhibitor base and really good for the show. And I just can't wait till Miami in December. So we'll see you there.
Well, listen, thanks everyone for joining us. We hope this update gives you insight as you make your plans for the remainder of 2020 and on into 2021. We're looking forward to the future together, and it will certainly be great to be all together again in Miami, of course, in our new normal mode. But until then, please stay safe and be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.